Hello and welcome to my Magikey 2022 deck profile. This deck was suggested by a viewer, so let's jump right into it. First, the Magikeys. 3 Sky Blaster, 3 Betos Buster. This adds us any Magikey card from the deck to the hand on summon. Then 1 Gear Glaser. If we've used 2 or more attributes for the summon of this is a monster negate and destroy. Then 3 Maftail. This is a super good extender because it can give us an additional normal summon, and when it's normal summoned, it special summons a Magikey monster from the graveyard. Then 3 Rescue Rabbit. This can either get us the Sky Blaster or it can get us Megalo Smasher X. There's some really funny reasons why we are playing this. Then the last monster in the main deck is Ash Blossom, just because this is an insane hand trap. The spells. 2 Magikey Maftea. This allows us to fusion summon or ritual summon a Magikey monster, and if we control a normal monster, we can use 1 normal monster in our deck as material. Then 3 World. This on activation gets us any Magikey monster, and it has a second effect that gets us Maftea. Because World is a really good card, we are playing 1 Terraforming as well. Then an Instant Fusion, because this can get us one of our fusion monsters. 3 Unexpected Die, because this is a free summon from the deck. Then 2 Advanced Ritual Art. This makes it easy to summon the Gear Glaser using 2 materials from the deck, or it can just summon an easy Betos Buster. Then some draw cards. You could play Prosperity instead, but I highly suggest just playing Desires and Upstart if you want to be on a budget somewhat. And Desires is a +1 as well, which is kind of nice. Then 1 Called by the Grave, because this deck kind of struggles against hand traps. The traps. 2 Magikey Unlocking. This is a spell or trap negate. It's a counter trap, so it's really hard to respond to, and it can make all monsters our opponent summons for the rest of the turn an attribute we declare. This comes up later. Then we are playing 1 Duo. Duo is just there for the times when you have a really good hand and you can set 2 traps from the deck. Because unlocking is a hard once per turn, you can then set a Duo and an unlocking. Duo can add you any Magikey monster from the graveyard to your hand, which is nice recursion, and then it can even fusion summon or ritual summon you a Magikey monster. Just a nice card, but you don't want to play this as more than 1. Then 3 Imperm, just because this is a really good hand trap and it doesn't trigger TTT. The extra deck. We are playing a level 4 Magikey fusion monster, because this is a tuner, a level 4 a dark, and it can add us Maftea back when it's fusion summoned. Then a level 8 Magikey fusion monster, because this can be a board wipe, like it can destroy all monsters your opponent controls that have the attribute of a Magikey monster in your graveyard, and if a monster your opponent controls is destroyed, it can draw you a card. Then the Synchros. We are playing 1 Dragite, because if we get a Megalo Smasher X in the graveyard, this is a spell trap negate, and you can easily get a Megalo Smasher X in the graveyard. If you, for example, use Maftea, you can use a normal monster in your deck as material and just send a Megalo Smasher, or if you used Advanced Ritual Art, then you can get a Megalo Smasher to the graveyard as well. Then 1 of the Magikey Synchros. This, if 2 or more attributes have been used for the summon, can set us any Magikey spell or trap, so it can get us some cards that we are missing as well. And it can attack twice. And if our opponent summons a monster with an attribute that is the same attribute as a monster in our graveyard, we can destroy it. So we can declare, for example, Dark with Unlocking, because most of the time we have 2 Dark monsters in our graveyard. Then our opponent summons a Dark, and we can pop it with the Magikey Synchro monster. This is a cool monster, and the 2 attacks help you to kind of clear the board as well if you go second. Then 1 Omega. You could play Gamma in this deck, because there are some searches that could get ashed, like for example, your Die can get ashed, your World can get ashed, your Terraforming can get ashed, the Ritual Art can get ashed. There's really many cards that can get ashed, even Maftea can get ashed. So if you want, you can play Gamma instead of Ash Blossom, and maybe cut 1 of the unlockings, but I don't really recommend it. But because this deck can make easy level 8 Synchro monsters, we are playing 1 Omega, because this is just a great card. Then we are playing 1 Dolka, because Megalo Smasher X is a dinosaur, we can make Dolka if we've used Rescue Rabbit to summon 2 Megalo Smasher X's from the deck. So Megalo Smasher X is a water for Dragite, and Dinosaur for Dolka. It's just a great card, Megalo Smasher. And Dolka is multiple monster negates and destroy in a turn, so this is basically sometimes a better upper loser, I would even say. Then 1 Baguska, because this is a great rank 4. 1 Vesperatu, because this can make our opponent send a monster they control to the graveyard. And sometimes we are locked into only some Magikey monsters. then 1 Abyss Dweller, just because this is so good against tier elements, and 1 Zeus, because we are playing Xyz monsters. Then 1 Link Spider. This is important for some of the combos. I would show them off later. Then a Liner, a Dark, and a Nightmare Unicorn, as well as an access code. They won't really come up, so if you play Prosperity, just banish the links first, but don't banish the Link Spider. Like, banish Liner, Dark, Nightmare Unicorn, and access code, because they barely ever come up. In the side deck, we are playing 3 Nibiru. This is great, this format. 3 DD Crow, also great, especially against tier elements. 3 Twin Twisters if we want to play against back row. 3 Dark Ruler no more. This deck is good at going second, because it can break boards, for example with the double attack, with the board wipe, with the fusion monster. But playing through interruptions is always kind of tricky, so Dark Ruler no more helps. And we are playing There Can Only Be One, because this deck has a really funny end board. It sometimes ends on a Thunder monster, a Machine monster, and a Dragon monster, so we are not affected by There Can Only Be One. And some decks just completely die to There Can Only Be One. Like, I played against Flunder with There Can Only Be One, and they just concede because they can't play around this. Let's jump into some combos, and yeah, if you have any questions, you can write them in the comments.